recorder, you'll notice that it breaks apart into two sections. The mouthpiece and the base. The part we're going to look at first is your mouthpiece. Your mouthpiece looks very similar to a whistle, but a little bit longer. Now, you'll notice that this curved edge is where you're going to place your bottom lip, and then you're going to gently rest your top lip on the top. Now, we're going to practice making a sound. When you play your recorder, you want to make sure that you blow very gently into your instrument. If you blow too hard, it's going to squeak and not sound very pleasant. So let's try. Very gently blow into your recorder. Very high pitch, much like a whistle. Now let's try attaching it to our bass. You'll notice that our bass has a lot of holes along the front and only one hole in the back, right here. And then this white piece is for you to put your thumb. So it's a thumb rest. And when you slide it together, it should slide very easily. And you're going to line this big hole here up with the small holes down here. You should take your finger and trace it right along, and it should perfectly line up here, except for the very bottom one, which is where your pinky goes, and you'll notice that it being on an angle actually helps you play better. Now, before we learn any notes, we're going to try the same thing we just did, blowing very gently into our recorder. You'll notice that the pitch has changed slightly now that we've attached the bass to the mouthpiece. Very gently blowing into the recorder. I cannot stress enough how important it is that you do not overblow when you're playing the recorder. It will sound squeaky and it will not create the right note that you are trying to play, no matter where your fingers are going. Now, before we place our fingers on any of these holes, I want you to take your left hand on top, your right hand on the bottom, not covering any holes. Bring your bottom lip to the base of the recorder. You're going to gently place your top lip on the top and blow gently. Just a slightly lower pitch than we heard before. Notice how I'm holding the recorder. I'm not holding it out like a whistle or a trumpet. I'm holding it down like a clarinet. Let's try that same thing again. If you find that you're squeaking, you're probably blowing too hard. It should be a nice, gentle pitch. Let's try it one last time. Hopefully, by this time, you've controlled your airflow and found a way to not squeak. Let's move on to our first note. Now, for our first note is B. And the way you're going to play B is you're going to take your left hand, cover that back hole, take your index finger, and cover the top hole in the front. You want to press firmly enough that you're completely covering the holes. The way you can tell you're pressing hard enough is if you get little circle indentations on your finger when you're playing. Now, it shouldn't be so hard that it hurts, but it should be hard enough that you get little indentations in your finger. And the more you play, the less you'll even notice that it's indenting your fingers anymore. So let's try it. Thumb in the back, index finger on the front. Very nice. If you found that your pitch does not sound the same as mine, you are probably overblowing. You're holding your recorder incorrectly, or you're not completely covering the holes. So double check your fingers, double check that you're holding it down, and blow a little bit more gently. Let's try it again. Hopefully this time was more successful for you. Now keep practicing, and I look forward to seeing your progress tomorrow.